What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you for another edition of Lakers Talk Daily. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Just a quick reminder, Monday through Friday, we're putting up Lakers content on our ESPN LA YouTube channel, so subscribe below. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'm in Vegas, so here for the preseason game. Lakers got a game tonight against the Phoenix Suns, another game tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we'll come back to LA. Only 5 preseason games left for the Lakers. Obviously, they lost the first one against the Sacramento Kings, maybe by a lot of points. I'm actually curious how tonight goes and see if Darvin Ham makes any changes to that starting lineup and everything else. And I know yesterday I spent some time doing the starting lineup. This is what I want to do today. So I just want to get Laker fans' prediction. Where do you think the Lakers are going to rank in the Western Conference? And this comes, I saw a quote here, and, granted, these are Steven Jackson, obviously his history at times with the San Antonio Spurs. Lakers would go up against them. Showtime Basketball, so they do their, I'm going to call it this, they did their full certified smoke 2022-2023 NBA season preview, and it goes up on Showtime Basketball on YouTube. It's actually great. I like watching. KG's on it a ton, Kevin Garnett. So this one's got 2 quotes that I want to throw out there. One's from Steven Jackson. One is from Paul Pierce, who I think all Laker fans would agree with. Might be the most annoying player that I've ever seen in my life when he was on the floor. Okay, we'll leave that. We'll put that to the side for a second. But they said something to me that I thought that was interesting. Steven Jackson is talking about where the Lakers are going to be. And he's talking specifically about Anthony Davis, and they give kind of their prediction of where they think the Lakers are going to be this year. This is Steven Jackson. I just don't see AD showing up in practice like, look, bro, everybody's got to be on my back this year. I got it. F what they talk about in the media. F all that other stuff. Let's get on my back. I got it. He's not coming in there and saying that. And if they don't have that attitude, they're not going to make the playoffs. Paul Pierce jumps in. I don't even think the Lakers going to be a top 8 seed. All right, those are 2 players that played in the league, obviously had their own individual success. Paul Pierce hated Celtic for many years. I know Laker fans, certainly hated him. So that's their opinion. I'm going to throw this out to Laker fans. We got a lot of good teams in the Western Conference. Let's not sugarcoat it. I mean, if you just look at the preseason, Phoenix, Minnesota, Golden State, those are 3 teams right there that you're assuming are going to be in the playoffs, and some of those teams competing for an NBA championship. I feel like a lot has got to go right for the Lakers this year to be in that conversation. Not a conversation of the playoffs, but just in that mix of a team that could be dangerous or could be a threat. Where other teams, I don't think they have to, obviously, they don't have to convince everybody the way I think the Lakers do. So with that in mind, I think there's some locks that I just know are going to make the playoffs. The Golden State Warriors are obviously going to make the playoffs. This is assuming everybody's healthy. Golden State Warriors are going to make the playoffs. The Memphis Grizzlies, you can lock them in. They're going to be in there as well. The Clippers, I think, actually are going to be a team to reckon with this year. And I know we've said that many different times. And Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, how's that squad going to do? On paper, it's as good as it gets as far as their depth and everything else. There's 3 teams right out the gate that I think are getting in. I think everybody would agree with me. The Denver Nuggets are getting in the playoffs. That's number 4. The Phoenix Suns are getting into the playoffs. That's number 5. The Dallas Mavericks are getting in the playoffs. That's number 6. There's 6 teams right there where I don't really have to hesitate and tell you those squads are going to make the playoffs. Now, of the teams that made the playoffs last year, there's only a couple teams really going backwards. The Utah Jazz are going backwards. So that's number 1. So keep that one in mind. They're obviously in a complete rebuild mode. They're going to be going backwards. So now you basically got 2 spots left. I'm going to list off some teams that are going to be fighting for those 2 spots. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they got better in the offseason, right? You go get Rudy Gobert in a trade, and they still got their core. It looks like a team that's, on the up and up. The Pelicans had a great freaking finish to their year last year. They added C.J. McCollum. I guess Zion is looking really good too. The Pelicans are a team that's up and up. Okay, that's 8 teams right there. Now, where are we going to slot the Lakers? And, I think it's safe to say I'm not worried about the Sacramento Kings, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kings are going to try to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to. Maybe they make a play-in tournament. Sacramento Kings, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, and who am I missing? The San Antonio Spurs. Those are probably the 4 teams that are not going to be in the mix. Maybe you could make an argument and convince me that the Kings may be in the mix as far as the play-in tournament goes. So the only other team that I have not mentioned yet is the Portland Trail Blazers. And the Blazers are competing to make the playoffs. They're trying to, whether they're good enough or not. Dame was out for almost all last season. They traded C.J. McCollum. I'm curious to see what the Portland Trail Blazers are, and we'll find out. Actually, Lakers, I think, got some games pretty early on against Portland as well. So with all that in mind, where the hell do you slot the Lakers? I'll tell you what I think. What I think will happen in the regular season. Lakers are not going to go out there and try to win the most games in the NBA, nor do I think they have the ability to do that. I think it's all going to be about just make the playoffs and then figure it out from there. Hope you got some good matchups that go your favor. Hope that you're in a position where LeBron and Anthony Davis can take over. I would love to sit here and tell you Lakers are a top 5 team in the West, but I don't believe that. And I'm going to have to see it. I think a lot of Laker fans are going to have to be convinced of that as well. They're probably, if they got to that 6th seed, I'd be happy for the Lakers. I really would. I would look at it and say to myself, okay, that's a big difference from last year. Just by the way, the 6th seed last year was 14 games over 500. Lakers were 16 games below 500 last season. So to be 14 games over 500 in the West is actually a pretty good accomplishment. Denver was 6th. They were 48 and 34. I would not be surprised. I think at best you're probably in that 6th spot. Everything goes your way. Health is there. Guys are clicking. You're probably in that 6th spot. And then there's a very, very realistic chance that they're back in that play-in tournament and then have to obviously fight to work their way in to the mix for the postseason. I think that's definitely a possibility as well. So that's kind of the range that I see the Lakers. Play-in tournament, wouldn't be surprised. Would be surprised if they're in that 6th seed or 5th seed or somewhere around there. That obviously would be absolutely ideal for the Lakers. Laker fans, what do you think? Your predictions. Do you agree with Steven Jackson? Do you agree with Paul Pierce? Do you agree with those 2 former NBA players that the Lakers won't make the playoffs or they won't be a top 8 seed? It just kind of gives you an idea how drastic the expectations were from a year ago. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Just remember, subscribe to the channel. Here on ESPN LA, subscribe to the channel. I got my own channel as well, Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys being a part of that as well. And then we'll get this Suns game underway a little bit later today. And we'll have all our reaction after the game as well. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good rest of your day, Laker fans.